Welcome to Fitzdog Radio. It's 2021. That's a big deal to a lot of people. Obviously, time is it linear? What is it? What is time? We marked 2020 by 12 months, 9 of which we were heavy with the COVID. The first 3 were looking good. Stock market was going well. So I kind of think the year begins in March because I think that's when we're going to start to see COVID pull back a little bit. And it was rough. I did not feel joyous on New Year's Eve this year, even though Ryan Seacrest, man, he felt good, looked good. God bless him. God bless people like Ryan Seacrest. Institutions, brands, just the kind of celebrities that you can bank on. Grandma loves them. Teenage girls love him. Does he love him? Does Ryan Seacrest love himself, or does he get home, strip down naked, and cry while staring at himself in a full-length mirror? What is it, Ryan? Come on my podcast so we can find out. What is it with you? What emptiness are you trying to fill by hosting so many things? Not projects, not just shit, just garbage. Hey, look, who am I? It's 2021. I'm not going to sit here and judge, throw shade, as they say. Trying to keep it positive this year. I am. I really am. Neal Brennan's on the show today. We had a very deep talk. We get into some shit. We get into some deep inside our own heads. We're kind of similar guys. We both come from Irish Catholic families, kind of fucked up backgrounds, even though we're seemingly very together. There's some layers underneath that are struggling, and we help each other. And maybe we do a little bit on this podcast, and maybe we help you by extension. Huh? How about that for 2021? My favorite thing about 2021, I love countdowns, and I love the Beatles. And SiriusXM channel 17 is the Beatles channel. And they did the countdown. The fans voted, because that's who matters. I'm tired of critics telling me top 10s because they're fucking full of shit. They're not voting for what they like. I want to see their guilty pleasures. I want to see the real playlist of fucking John Pareles from the New York Times. What does he really listen to? Is he listening to the Golden Palominos, or is he listening to the fucking Go-Go's? The fans, that's who I care about. Beatles lovers. And they counted down the top 100 Beatles songs, and I listened from the beginning to the end. I mean, I was out of range a few times, but I heard most of it. And it is so fucking crazy how deep the Beatles catalog is. I mean, they start number 100. This is the worst song of the hundreds is Maxwell's Silver Hammer. Come on. Who doesn't fucking smile every time that song comes on? Maxwell's Silver Hammer comes down upon your head? Jesus. That's the worst song of the 100. How many bands? Take Aerosmith. And again, not throwing shade in 2021, but how many songs can you really name from Aerosmith? One of the quintessential American bands of all time. How many fucking songs can you really name? How many songs from fucking The Clash, who I love and I respect as much as literally any band in history. But how many of their songs, unless you're a big fan, can you name? The Beatles, you could name all 100 of these motherfuckers. And you know the words to most. It's so lopsided how successful and artistic and brilliant one band can be. You want to know what the top 10? I'll tell you. I'll tell you the top 10. We'll count them down. This is how they fell. Number 10 was Yesterday, which right out of the gate, I will tell you, I would put Yesterday in the top 3. Number 9 was Strawberry Fields Forever. Yeah, that's about where that belongs. Let It Be was number 8. For me, probably number 2. Here Comes the Sun at number 7. Yep, that's a song you want to... I remember I had an alarm clock that used to play Here Comes the Sun. And it made me happy every goddamn morning. Nah, that's not true. I was not happy to get up most mornings. That was college. I was hungover and in pain. Number 6 is Something. I mean, the love songs. You wonder why girls would get into Shea Stadium and wet their panties and go hoarse screaming for these motherfuckers. Their love songs, listening to The 100, so many of them are the most vulnerable, touching love songs. The narratives of these songs are guys that love you more than you love them. And there's another guy who loves them more. And they're always the guy that the girls want to go, I'll be there for you. I'll be there, Paul. Let me hold you, John. Even you, Ringo. I'll throw you a handy, Ringo. Number 5 was the Abbey Road medley, which to me is number 1. It's a trilogy. There's 3 songs. It starts with She Came In Through the Bedroom Window, and then it's Golden Slumbers, and then Carry That Weight. And those 3 songs together, I believe they call the White Album medley. The Abbey Road medley. Number 4, My Guitar Gently Weeps. Number 3, Hey Jude. Love Hey Jude. However, Paul gets a little carried away. The song could lose about 90 seconds of him saying na na na. It's a bit much. It's white guys trying to go too soulful can fall short. And it does there. To an otherwise might be my number 1 song if it wasn't for Paul trying to be fucking James Brown at the end there. In My Life, number 2, and the number 1 song, you probably know it. I'll say it anyway. Off Sgt. Pepper's. I believe it's the first song on Sgt. Pepper's. Well, I guess the Sgt. Pepper's song is first. I think A Day in the Life. I read the news today. Oh, boy. Come on. Anyway, so I enjoyed that. I didn't look at a lot of other lists. I don't look at the podcast lists because I'm never on them. I'm never on the top 10 podcasts. And again, that's the critics. The critics, they got to look for the fucking, well, these guys, it's about, the Mary Tyler Moore show, and they play act the character. No, how about a fucking guy just talks? How about a guy for 11 straight years does a show a week with big name guests, and he's charming as fuck, and he's honest? How about put that on a fucking list, okay? I don't have a hook. Sorry, I don't have a hook. I started before there were hooks. When I started podcasts, there was just people talking about themselves. And now you need more. Sunday Papers could be on a list. I could see that. People love it. But it doesn't really matter. Things like that don't bother me for very long. It's a very fleeting thing. Lists and such, awards. I don't really care about awards. It's not to say I haven't won a couple in my day, huh? If you're watching the podcast, you can see what I'm pointing at with my camera. All right. So this year, 2020, we took accounting of ourselves. How did we handle this 9 months? You can feel down on yourself and you can say, well, I didn't learn French. I didn't do sit-ups. I didn't buy enough canned goods for homeless people. But did you not kill yourself? Check. That's all that fucking matters. I mean, this is going to be a year in our fucking kids will be telling their kids about 2020. It will be the 9/11 of years. It will be the 1918 of years in the 21st century. And we will have gotten through it and gotten through it together. And I say that sincerely. I consider you guys a huge part of my life. There's a lot of interaction, as you know, with the podcast. There's a lot of interaction on social media, especially emails to my website, which I respond to every fucking one of them. I have for 11 years. And I enjoy hearing from every one of you, even if it's a little negative. You know what? I can take it. It's a community, and I feel lucky every time I turn on the mic to do a podcast that there's people out there that care about hearing it. So thank you guys. I would say that podcasting was the thing that got me through 2020, without a doubt. It gave me a purpose. It made me feel connected, and I got to stay in touch with friends by interviewing them, even though it was through Zoom. It was still connecting, and I'm thankful for that. Could I have written? Yeah, I could have. I could have been better, but so what? That's what 2021 is for. I have the weirdest thing is 2021, I do New Year's resolutions. I do believe that New Year's resolutions can really help. No, not forever, but so what? So you do it for 3 months. You did a good thing for 3 months. And so I cut out sugar and bread in the fall for like probably a good 5 or 6 weeks. So I'm relaunching that campaign. As of today, as I'm recording this, it's January 1st. And I've gone without sugar. I've got a little bit of a headache. And you do crave bread. You crave the carbs, but I'm not going to do it. I got a fucking giant... I'm a skinny guy. I weigh $156, 5'8", but which is probably on the tits. It's probably exactly what your doctor wants. But I want to get rid of this enormous belly. I look like a snake that ate a mouse. I'm thin with a fucking protruding belly. And who am I talking to? Maybe you're fat. You could be a fat listener. You could be sitting there with rolls and rolls, tits, saggy tits, an ass that it takes you 15 minutes to wipe because it's so deep. That could be you. And who am I? You're probably thinking what an asshole this guy is. $156 and he's dieting? Fuck this guy. I'm going to turn this off and listen to Mark Maron. Or who's a fat guy? Who's a fat guy with Joey Diaz. I'm going to listen to Joey Diaz. Who, by the way, I miss dearly. Called me the other day. And, man, I miss Joey. Bunch of comics have left town. We talked about this recently, but I don't think I miss any of them as much as I miss Joey Diaz. He is a stand-up gentleman. Anyway, what are we talking about? Oh, so anyway, I talked about going off sugar, and then I'm on YouTube, and a fucking video pops up with some type A chipper fucking trainer talking about getting off sugar. And I'm like, I did not search it. I didn't type it. I fucking said it. And my phone heard me say going off sugar, and it told YouTube. It said, hey, YouTube, you know that guy Fitzsimmons? He's weak. He's weak about the sugar. Hit him up. Hit him up. You can make some money off him. That's just between us. Don't tell anybody else. It's fucking creepy. It really is. I got in a fight with my wife, and all of a sudden I got fucking pop-up ads for these sites where you cheat. That's not true. But that's next. Why wouldn't that happen? It should listen for the word cunt and then send you that, what was that site? Madison? Something Madison? Yeah. Something Madison. It's a site where if you want to cheat on your spouse, and let's not kid ourselves, if you want to cheat on your wife, because I don't think too many women are going on, is it Dolly Madison? Are going on Dolly Madison and finding a guy to fuck her. If she wants a guy to fuck her, she just goes to TGI Fridays, sits alone at a bar stool for upwards of 40 seconds, and then it's Cock City and she's the mayor. So let's not kid ourselves. This Dolly Madison site, here's what it is. Here's my guess, is that some genius, and I believe this guy's Canadian, started the site for guys that want to cheat on their wives, and supposedly with women that want to cheat on their husbands, like matching them up. There's no women that are doing it. So what they do is they got about 20 to 25 hookers in each city in the United States. And when you want to hook up with a woman cheating on her husband, you're getting a hooker. You're getting a fucking chlamydia-ridden, stretch-marked, sad fucking failure. Some sad, I shouldn't say, I don't mean failure like in a judgmental way. I just mean things didn't work out. You're not getting a... Don't kid yourself. What do you pay for that Dolly Madison? $1,000 a year? Yeah. Just buy a hooker. Cut out the middleman. That's what you're getting. Allegedly. I could be sued for saying that if I were to say it as if I knew it. But allegedly, that's what I'm alleging. Sue me. Good. I'm in a football pool. This Sunday, we'll find out. I joined the pool. There's 200 people in it. And it's a suicide pool. I've probably talked about it on the podcast, but if you didn't hear it, you basically pick one. It's called a suicide pool because you pick one team a week. No point spread, just win or lose. You pick a team, and then for the rest of the season, you cannot pick that same team. So now it's week 17, and I have picked the 17 mostly best teams in the league, and now I got to pick a winner. It started off with 200 people. Down to 5. I'm in the final 5. And I got, since it's the final week before the playoffs and there's 5 people left, the rule is you have to pick 2 teams this week. So I've got Tennessee, which is a good bet. I think it's a 7.5 point spread. But I don't have a good second team to pick. And so I'm forced to take... who am I taking? Can't remember. But it's a 3-point spread. I could be fucked. Could be bad. So pray for me. I want to win this goddamn money. Hold on. I got to plug in the computer. My sister is a huge football fan. She's in a fantasy league. She won it. I just found out. I guess it ended. I don't know why it's over. Maybe they don't do the final week, but apparently she won. She won her pool. So congratulations, Deirdre, my sister, my fucking soulmate, who I love to death. Can I call her my best friend? I guess so. Yeah. She's 3.5 years younger than me. Teaches mentally handicapped people, people with intellectual disabilities. Great mom. Everyone loves her. But I love her the most. Anyway, let's get to a couple quick things. What else do I want to talk about? Oh, yeah, Chris, speaking of people that showed up this year, here's the thing. People that are super successful, like Tony Robbins talks about how he gets up in the morning and he jumps in a 50-degree plunge pool. And he talks about it like that's a good thing. You know, because then he faces all this challenge. Fuck you, Tony Robbins. Suck my dick, Tony Robbins. I'm sick of this fucking manly, tough it out bullshit. You're going to listen to me and Neil talk about what it's like to be a sensitive guy. Jesus, I'm going long here. Anyway, the people that are successful show up all the time. Christmas cards. Usually, and I count them, I get around 60 every year. I don't know why I count them. I sort of feel like, because I send a lot out, I want to know how many I get. So I get about 60. This year, I got less than 20. And you know who I got them from? Successful people. The people that show up no matter what. Like, you know, there's certain celebrity comics, like big name celebrities. Those cards showed up. The comics that are struggling, they didn't get around to the card. Nope. Now, a snapshot of them masturbating, I'm sure we could find one of those. But a card where they got their family together and got dressed up. And not only that, a good card. Thick stock, rich colors. Not some fucking Shutterfly, thin piece of shit postcard. No, like a double-sided card with the extra pictures on the back cover. Just when you think it's up. Just when you're feeling bad enough about yourself that you didn't get your shit together, you put the thing down and you go, oh, what's on the back? 4 more photos. And one's from Tahiti. One's from the Jersey Shore. One is them at a fucking soup kitchen. Give me a break, Jim Gaffigan. I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, these are people that are successful at life. They're good at it. They're fucking disciplined. They show up. That's why they make it. If you're sitting around wondering why you didn't make it, go jump in a fucking tub of cold water. What if Jim Gaffigan jumps in a tub of cold water? I don't know. All right. Let's get to it. You guys, I asked you about nicknames. What were your nicknames? I forget how it came up. But we talked about nicknames, and I've solicited yours. Here's what I got. As my name is Brock... losing my voice. Am I screaming? As my name is Brock, it was B-Rock throughout high school. But in college, I had a roommate who, for no discernible reason, started calling me Pig Balls. No backstory. I didn't have a gigantic sack. I was just Pig Balls from there on. Don't know if it helped with the ladies. Brock. I love that he signs it Brock. No, that was the old one. You're Pig Balls. You are Pig Balls. That is a fucking sad one. Because here's the thing about nicknames. Once you get it, you can't shake it. It's fly paper. And the harder you struggle, the more it sticks. Oh, sorry, Pig Balls. What was the thing on Howard Stern's movie? The station director, they used to call him... did they call him Pig Balls? It was something like that. Greg, here's my nickname, Slade. My real name is Shane, but my dad wanted to name me Slade when I was born. He liked names with a hard A. My mom said no to Slade, so they named me Shane. I told this story to some of my in-laws, and they have called me Slade for years now. Well, good for them. Good for them, Shane. That's the thing about in-laws. They didn't know you before, and they let you reinvent yourself. They want you to be your best you because you're with their fucking child now. An in-law will give you the benefit of the doubt. Until you cheat, you can't cheat. But short of that, they will be the parents you wish you had. They will be your postmodern parents. The ones that let you shed a couple fucking layers of skin and be the real you, Shane. Or I should say, Slade. Ted Farrell says, Ted got the tag Ruxpin after the popular 1980s talking bear toy. There was a talking bear named Ruxpin? The inner city Queens youth I grew up with had horrible phonics, and it morphed into Teddy Rubskin. So from Ruskpin, it became Rubskin. Now, Rubskin sounds like a nickname you might have earned. Were you giving yourself a little tug? Yanking the monkey? Choking the snake? Maybe? Rub skin? Aaron Mills says, in college in the 80s, several of us had nicknames. Mostly variations on our last names, Fitzy, Smitty, Giz. One guy in the group was jealous and kept asking for a nickname. Uh-oh. As you know, Greg, you can't ask for a nickname. It's bestowed upon you for better or for worse. Because he was persistent, we gave in. Because you can't regularly call a guy shithead, he became known as Shed. It was perfect because it made no sense. We were always having to explain it. Was the first story we told at his wedding, and told his kids later. That's fucking great. Shithead became Shed. Oh, man, you don't ask for a nickname. You don't ask. No. As a matter of fact, most nicknames are derogatory, so you may want to just avoid having a nickname at all. You're lucky if you get one. Like, I think we had a guy last week who was a track runner, and his name was Blaze. But it had to do with like a fire from his childhood. It just happened to be that he became a track runner and Blaze worked. That's fucking rare. Usually it's Whiskey Dick or Statutory, something you don't want staying with you. So, Shed. Got a quick road tour coming up. It's gonna be as safe as humanly possible. We're gonna keep track of people keeping their masks on. We're gonna keep the crowds at about half capacity, but I am coming out. If you want to come see me live, I will be in Indianapolis on January 7th through the 9th. Phoenix, January 21 through 24. Kansas City on January 28th through 30. Also dates coming up in Portland, Sacramento, Raleigh, and San Francisco. Go to Fitzdog.com. Get your tickets. All right, let's get to it. Now, listen, I always enjoy having this guy on. I have him on probably twice a year. He's probably one of my most frequent guests. Dear friend. And as I said earlier, we talked about some depression. We talked about some funny stuff. We got into a little bit about stand-up comedy, but you'll hear it all. You're already halfway there. Here's my interview with Neal Brennan. Hey now, Fitzdog Radio brings you a special edition. It's the end of the year, and I can't think of a better guest to round it out. He's a guy who is the co-creator of The Chappelle Show, and he also wrote on Singled Out. Ladies and gentlemen, Neal Brennan.
Yeah, Eddie, let's get the Jenny McCarthy questions out of the way now. I know you want to answer, you want to ask them, and I want to answer them.
I wasn't going to, but I actually did. What was Hardwick like back then?
Exactly the same.
Same guy, right?
Like identical. And the funny thing is, I don't see him hardly anymore, but
yeah.
He thinks of me now what he thought of me then.
Right.
Identical.
Is that good or bad?
It's not good. Because I was annoying. And I was annoying, and I based my character. This is one of the few. You're one of the few guys I could explain this to. Because I dropped out of school when I was 18 and was working the door at the Boston Comedy Club. First of all, when my voice changed when I was 16, I was like, I'm going to try to sound like Kevin and Attell.
Uh-huh.
So if you listen to my voice, it's like, oh yeah, I can see where you did that. And when I was working the door, the two major figures, Attell was a major figure in like 93, and Jay Moore was a major figure because I was roommates with him. And so my personality was like Attell and Jay Moore until, I don't know, it was for like a couple years.
Yeah. I
thought that was a good way to be. So I was just abrasive as shit.
As every comic that came to New York did. I became Attell.
Yeah.
Greg Giraldo became Attell.
I mean, yes.
Jay Okerson. There was a lot of Attells running around.
Yep. Jay and Kurt Metzger. Yeah. Gaffigan told me he had to not go to the cellar because he would just do Attell.
Yeah. I stopped watching him.
Yeah. It was
embarrassing. It was embarrassing because I'd go up after him and realize even more so. If I didn't go on after him, I could kind of go like, no, I'm doing my own thing. And then you saw him and you go like, oh, the audience is seeing it now. Now I'm busted.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even think they knew. They don't know what you're like. So they probably just think, oh, this is how comedians talk. And they were kind of right in that era, but they didn't know why we talked that way.
Wait, so how does this tie into Chris Hardwick?
Well, so when I worked for Singled Out, I was just a fucking annoying, abrasive dude.
Yeah.
And so he still thinks I'm like that.
Yeah.
And Greg, nothing could be further from the truth.
No, you've really self-actualized.
Yeah.
I always think Eckhart Tolle and you
Yep.
that if I had to be trapped in a yoga studio for 1 year.
Okay, well, all right. Let this be our guide for this episode. So my whole life is about trying to overcome my personality. I don't even mean like the Attell part. I mean the negative. I mean, I've heard Seinfeld talk about it. I've heard in the Shanley documentary, it was really well documented how much of being a comic is just reckoning with yourself.
Yeah.
It's so essential. Doing stand-up is so your fucking essence that you cannot hide unless you do what we were talking about earlier, which is just like, I'm going to be Attell's essence.
Yeah.
But it's so essential that you spend most of your life and career reckoning with it, right? So I reckon with it, and in some ways the 3 mics thing was like reckoning with it, but also embracing it and explaining it to people why I seem sort of low and all that stuff. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is I spent some time with a niece of mine. My nieces are like 30 because I'm the youngest of 10. So I literally have a niece. It was funny. I had a nephew out here, and I took him to like a restaurant I get takeout from, and I was like, hey, this is my nephew. And they were all like, hey, what are you doing out here? I'm like, he's on a fucking business trip. He's 34.
Yeah, right. I can have sex with my nephew's roommate.
Absolutely. I would be lucky to. So I spent time with my niece, and I didn't spend a ton of time with her growing up, but it was like watching myself. I mean, we're similar. And I had the thought I was just thinking about how much of ourselves do we think is realistic to overcome? Like like, what do I think I'm doing?
Yeah.
I've spent no time with her, and it's just you would know better because you've seen kids come out, right? You were there the day they showed up, and you've seen their personalities mutate or grow or change or whatever. And my guess is it's probably not that much.
It's not. It's funny you're talking about this. I had this exact thought yesterday. I was doing something. I was trapped in a negative thought, and I thought about how much therapy I've done and how many self-help books I've done. And you and I both did the TMS, transcranial magnetics therapy on our brains. And I just thought to myself, I haven't changed at all. I am the same fucking guy. You know, like I think especially when you're tested, I think that when I see that guy in front of Whole Foods and he's got on like the flip-flops and the ski hat and he's looking at a pomegranate and he's super peaceful and he's got on like a Bernie t-shirt, and you just think, all right, that guy came from a yoga class this morning and he's going to meditate later, and he's in his home court right now at Whole Foods and he is peaceful and you're picking up a nice aura. What's he like at a 4-way stop sign when somebody almost hits him and he's got his kid in the car? That's when you see the real guy. How much does all of that work hold on when it's put to the test?
Well, there's that, but it's all, I think that guy is probably, I can't even get to the Zen part. Do you know what I mean? I can't get to my home court just by merit of, it's like my brother Kevin used to say, like, he runs every day to get the Irish out of him or to get the Brennan out of him or whatever. And that's like, yeah, I get that. I totally get that. And I just wonder, so on stage, the thing that you said that haunts me is, in show business, only the true narcissists succeed.
Yeah.
And so I wonder sometimes, I'm like, I might not. I mean, and I told you the second part of that story. A buddy of mine came to see 3 mics and said he had the thought in the middle of it, Neil's not a narcissist, which I was like, fuck, when he said that.
Yeah, right.
And so I just wonder how much, because I've been doing ayahuasca lately. That's been fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And I did it 3 times, and in the last 4 months, I believe. And it's been great, and it has had a transformation on, I think, my baseline. But it's just, man, it's just really...
What do you mean by baseline? Like if you're home alone baseline, or if you're out interacting
what
with
I
people?
mean is, okay, so you drink it, and you have it's a shroom experience times 100.
Yeah.
But it's a shroom experience times 100, and it's a portal to the only spiritual religious experience I've ever had. So,
and that's coming from a kid who grew up Catholic.
Yeah, and that's coming from a kid who was an atheist 3 months ago and no longer is. And I don't know what I am now, but there's something there, right? But I can only see it when I drink ayahuasca.
It doesn't stay with you.
No, here's the cool thing. First time I did it, the halo was about 10 days. After the hangover was about 10 days of, I was genuinely nicer. I didn't even, as you were saying, I told somebody, you go to church and then by the first stop sign, you're like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
With ayahuasca, I didn't have a fuck this guy even in me.
Yeah.
It was like a disc was put in my stomach that just didn't have that. On day 10, 11, 12, I started to kind of revert back to my actual personality, but I was nice. I was patient. I was like sweeter. And to your thing about like, yeah, it's easy to do it at home. I was directing a commercial in Florida. So I was tested and was good.
Wow. Do you feel like you did a better job on that commercial than you normally would?
I did a nicer job. I don't think I was more creative or less creative. I was just more patient with people and didn't snap at anybody and didn't feel entitled to.
Yeah.
Second time I did it, I had that for like 17 days. Third time I did it, I drank too much. Long story short, felt shitty afterward. But now I feel I'm not taking antidepressants. I haven't taken antidepressants for 4 months.
Well, you can't take them when you take ayahuasca, right?
Correct. Yeah. SSRI. Yeah, you cannot. You can literally die from serotonin syndrome. So I feel as solid, I think, as I've ever felt in my entire life.
Good, man. Congratulations. That's great.
Now I don't have that nice patina.
Yeah.
But I have a shot. At least I'm not, maybe I do. I mean, maybe because I'm more solid, I'm less snappy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an amazing thing. But that's been a good thing in terms of a kind of snap your fingers, voila. It's the closest to a magic bullet I've ever been involved in.
Wow. Yeah, because you're a seeker. I mean, I respect that.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where, you can get to a certain point in your life and just say like, I'm just going to be a guy that wears flip-flops and goes to the bar and goes to Shay J and gets the same beer and talks to the same bartender and goes, this is it. This is fine. I'll do the crossword puzzle at the bar. It's fine.
Yeah.
But to continue to try to like peel back layers and get to what is really you, it's inspirational. And I think that, even though you don't proselytize, but it is something that I've seen. It's helped me. I remember I went to adult children of alcoholics meetings for years when I was in Boston, and it really fundamentally, I shouldn't say fundamentally changed me. It helped me a lot. And I stopped going. And then when I came out here, you just mentioned that you went, and it just clicked in me, and I started going again. And then you told me about the transcranial magnetic stimulation, which for people that don't know, you go in and they literally put magnets on your head with electrodes, and you go 5 days a week for, 2 months?
7 weeks, 8 weeks, yeah.
And I tried that, and I had some success with that. And no, I have to thank you, man. I really do think you help people explore.
Well, nobody else. I truly don't do it for that. Like, I don't even think about that.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
But I am aware that because I get DMs every day of people telling me the shit that they've tried because they saw me talk about it, which is so dumb that we live in a society that you got to rely on me.
Yeah.
Right. You have to, in terms of depression, you have to rely on me, Kevin Love, and Charlemagne to talk about it in public.
Yeah. Right. And Gary Gulman. You got to put him in there too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Gary's now joined the list. So that's so dumb that's the public face of depression is those guys. So,
well, and also I think I got into TM because of Stern and Seinfeld.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a weird, that's like the kind of upside of celebrity.
Yeah.
That, people say it's like, oh, it's bullshit and all that stuff. But
yeah, right.
But yeah, so and when you say it's to get to your true self, it's more like I want to get to a better self. I think the true self is the cunt.
Wow. Really?
And I think so. That's the one that, again, to your point, the one that's, when you stimulate it, it's like, fuck you. The getting the Irish out. It's like, is Kevin running to get the Brennan out of him because the Brennan's not his true self? I don't think so. It sounds like the Brennan's the true self, and the running is the thing that you do to get to pan to get that shit out.
Wow, that's a tough way to look at it. I mean, I've never thought about that. When I say true self, I guess I do believe that there's a part of us that was the clean slate. Who was it called the clean slate? That you're born as a clean slate, and then all that stuff gets put on you. I mean, you can't not think that stuff was put on you, especially if you believe. But
I don't know. I mean, you would know any of your children's faults are not. You didn't put it on them.
Yeah.
I mean, meaning they got it from your wife or from you.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about temper, certain things, certain characterological things. Or they just come out like sweeter. It's like, I'm from a giant family, so you can see the differences between people that were raised in the same environment.
Yeah, right.
So I don't even see it as I guess it's like, look at it from a comedy point of view. Is the real you is it your notebook or is it the stuff that works? I would say it's the notebook. And you get to the stuff that works through editing.
Right.
And I think it's similar in this, where it's, I wake up as the notebook and then I try to either TMS, ACOA, fucking ayahuasca, my way. Like, okay, we gotta get rid of and meditate, all that stuff to get to the better version.
So you're literally describing life as a performance. Then it's not a true self.
I don't see it as a performance. It's in a vacuum. I don't need to do it in front of people. It's like mental thing. It's your thoughts.
Right. No, I don't mean in front of people, but it's also not deep. It's never going to be self-discovery. It's always going to be self-crafting.
Well, isn't that what religion is? Like the one we grew up with? Isn't it about...
It's original sin. You come out and you're already guilty.
But you're already... But beyond original sin, I always say that we're so designed to fuck up that once a week, at least, you have to go to church and be like, oh, right. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Don't be an asshole. Yeah. Okay. I got it.
Yeah.
And then a week later, you've forgotten. And you're like, yep, nope.
Right.
I'm back. And you were right. And you got to do that every week
Not only that, if you're a real Catholic, you then
every day
confess on Saturday so that
Yes.
you're clean. You're not allowed in the old country. You don't go to church on Sunday unless you confessed on Saturday.
Yeah, and in certain parts of America, you go on Wednesday also or Thursday.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so that I think that we're so designed fallibly that, you know, or if it's not church, it's you got to watch The Matrix and be like, that's right, I'm better. I'm Luke Skywalker. And yep, okay.
Yeah.
Here I go. And you're trying to edit yourself. What you thought of as a performance, I would just say like morality.
Yeah.
or not even morality. It's standards for yourself.
Right.
But I don't fucking know. I don't know. That's what made me think of the knee stuff. It's like I'm thinking of all this stuff, and I've thought about it a lot over quarantine. Watching the way comedians behaved and personally shit, and just thinking like, oh, these people are fucking psychos. And if I'm gonna be able to, I don't want to say compete because it's not a competition, but in order to be in the race, I'm gonna have to just work really hard because I'm not that much of a psycho.
Yes. I had the same thing. I watched two comedians on a podcast yesterday, and they're both very, very outspoken alpha males. And the shit that was coming out of their mouths, I was just like, I felt like what a 13-year-old girl would feel like trying to stand in the lane when Shaq was driving. I felt like this is not what I'm doing. And this is a new kind of a brand of comedy that's very popular. And I'm not playing that same game. And it was like, it really bummed me out because there's a part of me that's competitive.
Yeah.
And then I took a breath and I went, no, this is a reminder to do your own thing.
It's a reminder to do your own thing. I have the same thought regularly, but it's the next thought is like, and this speaks to the narcissism thing also. I see narcissism as basically a performance enhancing drug that I can't take.
Yeah.
I literally don't know the dealer. I don't know. I don't get that. They do. And so now in order for me to be on the same show with them, and in order for me to try to have a chance of doing as well as them, I need a fucking protocol. I need to work. I need to write. I need to the only way I'm going to beat it is with producing myself.
Yeah.
Writing and planning and that's it. Because I'm not going to go up there and see what happens.
Yeah. Right.
Like that's I remember I was talking to Chappelle about a thing, and he was like, yeah, just go up, and we were talking about when you have a TV show and you have to kind of cull the staff, like you have to fire people and all this stuff.
Right.
And especially when you take over somebody else's show. And he's like, I don't know, I'll see what happens. I was like, I'm not talented enough to see what happens. I can't just go up there and feel it out.
Yeah.
Or the talent I have is not that.
Yeah.
Whereas I know a lot of people that are just fun to watch.
Right.
They're just compelling to watch.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even matter what their jokes are.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of those people.
I think Colin Quinn is both of those things. He's a guy that I can watch, the phrase, I could watch him read the telephone book, but also the guy who produces the shit out of himself.
Yes,
writes.
but I think the difference between his shows on a Tuesday at the Cellar and his finished shows there's a huge difference in response.
Yeah.
from the audience. I love the Tuesday show. The audience doesn't seem to love it.
Right.
I mean, the times I see him, dozens of times, I'm like sort of one of his like, oh, okay, one of those sets.
Yeah, right.
I could watch that fucking endlessly.
Right.
The audience doesn't like, the audience is like,
Yeah.
come back later.
Yeah. Godfrey just went on ahead of him.
Yeah.
And yeah. It's tough.
So whatever. I don't think it's tough. I think the audience needs a certain level of, zhuzh. It's not, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
I find that, first of all, there are still spaces like alternative. It's almost like both sides have gone to extremes. I feel like if I go to an alternative room, if I do Largo, or once in a blue moon, I'll do like UCB, or I'll do like a coffee shop. And I find they're very supportive, but they also, it's like a girl who's a virgin and you're trying to have rough sex. Like they can't handle it. You have to really be ginger, and you really have to watch Being Woke. You're really in your head the whole time. Like you're like screening your own jokes as you're telling them, because they can turn off so fast. And then on the other hand, you've got the mainstream clubs where they're really gravitating towards in your face, un-PC, and there's good versions of it and there's bad versions of it right now. But I'm finding if you're not to that extreme, you're not getting the results in those clubs that you used to.
Yeah, like it's a very potent weapon.
Yeah.
That I don't. It's so if you're not that by nature, I don't think I could. I think you're closer to that by nature than I am.
No, I'm not. I'm definitely not PC. I say things that are, but I think I don't do. There's an energy to it that I don't do. I don't bully.
But you can. I've seen you do bullying crowd work.
Yeah. No, that's true.
I think your act is. You could. I don't think it's that hard. I don't think it would be that hard for you. And I also think that you have enough jokes that where an audience would be like, oh, that's fun. Like if you asked people what they thought of you, I think it's closer to that than it is me.
Right.
A thoughtful, courteous,
and a liberal. There's not a lot of liberal comedians out there these days.
A real liberal.
Yeah. I mean, who else is liberal? You don't hear it. Tom Papa, you and Papa.
Well, in terms of, they're all liberal.
Yeah.
Joe's angle, especially on Joe's angle, it seems like sometimes is he's a liberal with conservative setups.
Yeah.
It's like a conservative setup, and he looks conservative, and you go, this is conservative. If you ask his crowd, is Joe liberal, conservative? They go like, he's somewhere in the middle, a little probably closer to conservative. It's like, no. He's a fucking ultra left. He's an ultra liberal.
Yeah.
But he hunts.
Yeah.
So it's masculine liberalism.
Right.
Whereas mine is feminine liberalism, and like he used to do a joke like, I have a problem, which is it looks like I voted for Trump.
Uh-huh.
Joe used to open with that, and then I would open with, I have a problem, it looks like I voted for Hillary. And it would kill because, like, I look queer, for lack of what we used to call queer. But I complain about it.
Yeah.
Like, the angle is like, it sucks.
Was there a point where you stopped fighting that? Because being the youngest of 10, and especially a lot of strong males in your family, I only know 2 of them, but Danny and Kevin.
That's pretty good. You can extrapolate from there.
Yeah. But I mean, was there a time, because I know I carry around a lot of defensive masculinity, and I think that I've gotten into a lot of fistfights in my life for that reason. I think that I've, projected being tougher than I really feel inside. And I think I still hold on to that, whereas I think you're more comfortable. I mean, just in talking about it right now, you're more comfortable with wearing that on your sleeve, that you're not as tough, Was that a transition for you?
But here's the thing. I am. Meaning that thing of, that's the thing that no one would believe, is that everyone, all the comedy club people think I'm like a femi liberal, and all of the alt people think I'm a jock.
Uh-huh.
Because I say like pussy.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, I never said on stage, like, I'm trying to get some pussy, but like, because I'm affiliated with black people and I have a lot of black friends, I will say pussy, like, you trying to get some pussy.
Yeah.
To a liberal, that's like pearl clutching time and like, what? And like, quit acting like a bitch. It's like the black idiom or whatever, the black energy or colloquialism, that they see me as like my buddy Mike Schur created Parks and Rec, Good Place, and was a big person on The Office and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and
was
has
he on
never
The Simpsons
asked.
Also?
No, he was SNL, then he went to those shows. Never asked me to direct an episode of any of them. But because he thinks I'm a brute.
Really?
Yes.
Do you know that, or that's what you're assuming?
I'm assuming that. I just know that it's like there was an article about me, and Seth Meyers said that when he met me, he thought I was a diamond in the rough. When he met me, I was the executive producer of one of the most popular sketch shows on television.
Uh-huh.
What the fuck are you talking about, diamond in the rough?
Yeah.
But I seem like scrappy to people.
Yeah.
To civilized people, to Harvard and Northwestern grads, I seem like a street fighter, which I technically am.
Yeah.
But when I'm around Joe Rogan and you and fucking Joey Diaz, I'm John Mulaney.
Yeah. Right.
So I don't fucking know. I mean, like, I think those people see me as like a way, way brasher than brash people do.
Do you think about masculinity in terms of trying to figure out who you really are and trying to peel that back in any way? I mean, I'm speaking from my own journey. Can I say the word journey on a podcast?
I wish you would. I think legally we have to say it once.
But like, dealing with that, and I think I've dealt with it in raising my kids and having to be a day. I do a joke about it, about how we watch sports because we can't talk to each other about emotions, and so we play them out through what's happening in the game, in sports. And it is something that I've really dealt with, is like, how do I be a male role model for my son? Because it is important. You don't want to raise a pussy. You want to raise a kid who can take care of himself and who feels like he's got a place in the world and who's, I'm going to say it, who's aggressive. I want my son to be aggressive. And at the same time, I want my son
Why do you explain to me why you say you want your son to be aggressive? Because I don't think I've ever heard someone say that, and I would like to hear what you mean.
Well, I'm going
to get some lip balm just to put this, offset your energy.
Balm. The fact that you said balm.
Yes, thank you.
I want my son to be aggressive in the sense that I think right now there is a what do you call it, of men?
Feminization?
Yeah, feminization of men. And I feel like he doesn't feel as a straight white male. And he said this to me, that he has a place in this world and that he's going to get a break. And he didn't say get a break. He just doesn't feel like he has a right to get things in this world right now. And I don't want him to feel that way. I want him to feel like when he discovers what it is he wants to do, I want him to fucking attack it with passion and with joy. I want him to find his stand-up. For me, it was stand-up comedy. I had no idea until I found stand-up that I would find something that would make me sacrifice going to my cousin's wedding and dating a girl that's really hot but is sick of me being away all the time, and would make me live as the fifth guy in a 3-bedroom apartment in New York. And, I am so lucky that I found that, because it brought out a part of me I didn't know I had. And I got the most out of it. I absolutely attacked it. Until I had kids, it was like I lived and breathed.
Then you started attacking them. Yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. No, and then I found some balance. At that point, I was 33. I'd been doing it for 10 years. And I started writing as well as doing stand-up. And my life changed. And I don't regret any of it. I'm very happy with where I am. But I want him to have a decade of finding something that he, in a masculine way, goes after. And that's not to say women can't go after things in the same way, but he happens to be a boy. And I want him to use the testosterone that God gave him.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, there is the. I don't know what I don't know any. Not like I don't have any kids, so I don't know what it is like to see a. How old is he? 17, 18?
20.
20. Yeah. So I don't know. I haven't had that conversation with anybody like that. But yeah, I think that there is a level. Masculinity is not something I think about a lot. I think about more about anger as a thing that I don't like. It's a thing that really, it helped me. It is fuel in terms of competition or just being able to withstand humiliation, to kind of just be a fucking loser for a decade.
Right.
And anger helps. And weirdly, I think anger is helpful in terms of lifestyle if you are living in a way that runs counter to the accepted norm. Right.
I had a thought the other day when I heard somebody tell somebody else, hey man, just relax. Just relax. And I was just like, you know what? There's too much of that. Calm has never accomplished anything interesting in the arts.
Correct.
You have to embrace the anger, and you have to channel the anger. It can't control you, but it needs to be at an arm's length. But it should be right there. It should be right next to you, but not in control of you. And if you can, I think
you're like macro is anger. I don't think you want to operate from a position of anger. Like I was saying, like on set, I was patient and nice, and the commercial was just as good as it would have been if I wasn't.
Yeah.
Because it's when people go, I don't want to take medication because I don't want to lose my edge. You're like, my thing is like, all right, your edge is already in you. Like you and I are at the point where I'm going to reflexively write jokes. If there's a news story, it's like ring, like angles will just come up.
Right.
I can't, whether I'm happy, sad, that's going to happen at this point.
Yeah.
But the anger, I don't find especially useful interpersonally. Now I'm more into charisma and persuasion and communication. Like those are the books I've been reading.
Yeah.
I told somebody yesterday, you're better off being attractive and charismatic. That's more valuable than a doctorate.
Yeah.
In anything.
Right.
Fucking anything.
Yep.
And so if you can, I wrote on my home screen on my phone, I can't show it to you, but to picture me smiling, and it says, seem nice. Because that's the other thing I've learned. I've learned in not over quarantine, but over like quarantine plus life is like, you're better off seeming nice than you
Yeah.
are being nice. Seeming
Yeah.
nice takes a little bit more time, but you don't have to follow up on anything. Being nice, you actually have to follow up.
Yeah, right.
And that ends up taking so much more time.
Yeah.
Because you have to actually do the person's podcast instead of saying, I'd love to, and then ghosting them. Because that's that narcissism thing where the people, our peers are fucking lunatics who think nothing of seeming nice.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, seem nice. That's what I mean. Because I will be nice, but I think it's enough to. One of my problems, if I could give myself advice, is like, you need to seem nicer.
But you're describing what everybody hates about Hollywood.
Right. But it's also the thing that no one stops doing.
Yeah.
It's, everyone hates it, but I believe it was the great philosopher Greg Fitzsimmons who said, nothing will drain your bank account in Hollywood like getting angry once.
Yeah, right.
Like,
I see what you're saying. You're saying cut out the anger, not necessarily turn on the false promises.
I'm saying turn on the charm.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Yeah.
What's the downside of being too charismatic?
Right.
What's there's fucking no downside.
Yeah.
You just trick people, and they love being tricked. They love it. It's thrilling. It's like, oh, I found the thing. And they go, I have fucking money behind my ears.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
I'm a fake ass magician. They go, no, I think I carry money. They're thrilled by it.
Yeah.
Just to be touched with your phony, you're just a fucking delicate phoniness.
And all you need to do is remember one previous running joke that you guys had.
Yeah.
And you just hit that every time.
What do you say, skip? Because you saw him skip 7 years before.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that
and you
guy
can
knows.
just
I mean, there are
bald-faced
classes where they teach this shit.
Yeah.
And I know because I've taken them over quarantine. But honestly, like, I really wish I thought it didn't matter how you seemed as long as your actions are what counted.
No.
Fuck no.
No.
Your actions are fucking meaningless.
Yeah. Wow.
It's the vibe you set.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I think I learned from my dad, I think something similar to that, which is that we have a gift that we've been given. We have the anger, but we also do have the charisma. I mean, I guess you can polish up on it. But my dad always felt like that's what you're bringing to the party. Some people...
But you and my charisma is rakish. It's a bit shambling. It's
I don't know what either of those words mean.
It's a scrappy. It's not. We're not. Jimmy Carr or Mulaney, where it's like or Trevor Noah, or where it's just fucking him.
Right.
Yeah, it's the thing of the definition of charisma is when someone enters the room, you want to say yes before you know what the question is.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Whereas we walk in and they go, "You got a question?" I don't know. It's the Colin Quint's joke about when you're ugly, every room you enter, they go, "Can I help you?" That's the difference between you and me and Trevor Noah.
That's the other thing.
No, they don't even say, "Can I help you?" They go, "What?" It's way funnier than "Can I help you?" It's what.
He also says when you're a New Yorker and somebody goes and somebody asks you how you're doing, they're not asking you, they're telling you. How you doing? You doing good?
You good?
How you doing? You good?
I mean, the best Quinn joke is in New York, if you see if somebody in New York sees you with ice cream, they just stand in front of you and go, "Where'd you get the ice cream?" So fucking funny.
But I mean, I think the thing my father said to me is like, people are given different gifts, and you got to figure out what you're bringing to the party. And for me, if I walk into a party, I know I can tell a better story than almost anybody there. I can bust balls without making people feel hurt. They feel loved by the way I make fun of them. And so that's what I got to bring to the party. I may not feel like it on any given night, but that's my job. Especially if you're talking about it's fucking Christmas. It's a family reunion.
Did your dad say that specifically?
Oh, yeah. It was like...
That's more direct advice than my dad ever gave me.
My dad was the life of the party, like, Neil, you've never seen anything like it in your life.
Yeah.
He walked into a room. You walk into a bar on 52nd Street, and, he was on radio in New York, so a lot of people knew him. And so, but he also grew up in New York City. He lived his entire life there. And so he would walk into a bar and it was just like, Fitz. And I mean, shaking hands, hugging, ball busting, running jokes, drinking his ass off. I mean, he was just like, and I watched that and I just thought, man, does he make people happy? Look at the joy he brings. And then he would come home and he would take his dinner.
It would continue.
And he would go into the den and he would close the door and he would chain smoke and ignore everybody. And then yell at you and occasionally hit you. And I just thought, all right, let me cut out the home life part of it. Let me improve on the home life part of it.
Yeah.
And I realized that you can't give too much away because you've only got so much to give and you have to share it. So if I do go to the Comedy Store and I see Ali Wong, I'm going to give her a hug, have a couple laughs, but I'm not going to take from myself to the point where it's depleted. Yeah,
I've gotten better at that. I mean, that's a thing that to revert to the thing we've been saying about over quarantine, the protocol thing where it actually happened. I was doing a show here, during quarantine, an outdoor show. I invited Allie, come do some time. And then I ended up worrying about her the whole time. Like I was kind of babysitting her, not like she knew it. I was just socializing and did it. And then by the time I went on, I was like, I couldn't even focus on my act.
Right.
So that's a more disciplined way to, it's like conserving your energy.
Well, it's
or your positivity.
Right?
Well, there's a whole other issue, but what you're talking about is me realizing that I was driving to a show I was doing in San Diego, and I was going to have the kid who was opening for me, this kid Ron Taylor from the store, drive with me. And then I was like, I want to listen to my act and concentrate.
Right.
So I said, like, hey, do you mind getting your own ride? And he was fine with it.
Right.
But it's like just being fucking smart instead of being social.
Right.
To a fault.
Yes. And I find that, like, I remember some comedian I was talking to in New York, and Louie had him open it for him. And when you open for Louie, he gets a private jet on most gigs. Mm-hmm. And you get in the jet with him and you go to the gig.
That's so he can jerk off in front of people. Go ahead.
But he was doing it because he was working on his TV show at the time, but he could go out and make $100,000. The jet cost him 10. And so he said, fuck it. If I don't take a jet, there's no way I'm going to have time to connect flights to get to Indianapolis and do this. I'm going to have to spend the night in a hotel. Why am I justifying Louis C.K.'s jet use? But the point is, the opener said to me, I'd get on a plane. I'm not doing gigs with Louis anymore. Like, he asked you to come on the jet with him, and then he does this power move where he puts on a headset and he listens to his set and he works on his act the whole time, and he doesn't fucking talk to you. He makes you feel like you're some kind of an underling. It's like, good. Don't do his fucking gig then, you fucking idiot.
Yeah. That's Louis and Rock are the big ones. Louis was saying, like, I remember he did an interview or something where he was like, if you're going to a show, you should just be listening to your show.
Right.
You have to start you have to think about it all day, and you have to focus on it from 1 p.m. on.
Right.
Really focus on it, which I was kind of like, I would sort of whatever. But now it's like, no, dude, you have to. I just got a fucking, I don't have it on me, but I got a magnet board. I got a label maker and a whiteboard of my jokes. And like, I put it, instead of having paper, I just lay it on the ground. The crowd can't see it, but it's basically like a teleprompter of my jokes. Cause I want to be, I'm pretty disciplined to begin with, but I want to be more focused, and I don't have a lot of room for error.
Right.
I'm not running a huge margin.
Yeah.
We're like, we lost. Like, it's sloppy, whatever. And no.
Yeah.
Sloppy's not good for me.
Right.
It's like when I did the Twain thing, the Mark Twain thing for Chappelle, and I did better than everybody. And I got off stage, and Kenan Thompson was like, how did you do that? And I was like, I practiced.
Yeah.
I just practiced. I didn't want to wing it.
Right.
I can't wing it. Yeah. I'm not a winger.
Yeah, no, when I used to do the Stern Show, I did the Stern Show like 50 times. And the reason they would have me back is that I didn't steal the show. I was not the guy that came in and had a story about how he had an ingrown toenail and ended up fingering the nurse. Like, that was not my thing. My thing was, when I knew I was coming on, for 3 days before I went on the show, I started going through the news, picking out stories. I started thinking about the couple anecdotes that would come up about my life that were almost like stand-up, that I could punch and that would work. And I stayed up the night before. I'd be in a hotel. I'd fly in the night before, put myself up in a hotel.
Yeah.
And then I would get up about 2 hours before because usually I would go in at like 7:30. Show would start at 6. So I would get up at 5:30, get some coffee, listen to the show. So I was prepared. And then I'd walk in and fucking relax and just let it all go.
Yeah.
I did my work. And then realize like my job now is to be present, and all that shit is just going to find its way in. And so they kept bringing me back. Yeah,
there's people don't like Seinfeld, but meaning like comics think he's arrogant or whatever. I don't, but he was on Tim Ferriss's show, his podcast, like 3 weeks ago. And he talks for like 2 hours and 20 minutes just about his regimen and exercise and fucking writing and developing material. And it's really great. And it's, some people are talented, and then some people are talented and work hard.
Right.
And he's the second.
Right.
Because if you're talented and work hard, you'll have $1 billion like him.
Yeah.
Or like Sandler. Sandler's maybe richer than Jerry, who knows? But like Adam Sandler's a fucking dog of a worker.
Yeah.
A dog. The first guy in the gym, last one to leave, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Where would you put Chappelle in that in terms of talent versus work ethic?
He's all talent.
It's all talent.
He's all talent.
Yeah.
He's all talent, and literally used to. He got mad at me recently he literally got mad at me for making us right when we were doing the show.
Uh-huh.
Where he's like, how fucking, sort of like, how shitty it was to always have to write? I'm like, we agreed to do 13 episodes in a row, man.
Yeah, right.
Like, how are you still mad at me for that? How are you mad at me ever for that? Like, you called me. He would be like, this shit's like school.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when
Seinfeld one time said he knew when he was doing the sitcom, he's like, this is going to be a really bad on my life. But if I do it well, I never have to do it again.
Right.
And he was right.
Right.
It's still, he makes more off of that than anybody makes off of any television show that's on the air.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, him and Larry make more money every year from Seinfeld than Shonda Rhimes makes from fucking Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even, it's like more than an annuity. It's like fucking, it's an active business.
Yeah. Right.
So
what is Chappelle's work ethic with stand-up? What's his process?
I think he just has a fucking wildly fertile brain, and he, you know, he does the shit we all do, which is like idly think. He showed it at the beginning of one of his specials where it's like just him on a bench. And it's like Morgan Freeman talking about him. But it's, and then, I mean, with the show, it would be like, I had an index card where I'd write down ideas for sketches. And then when he had ideas, he'd be like, hey, put this on the card. Yeah. But it was not like, he's not a searcher and he's not a grinder.
Yeah.
He just like, you know, it's like the George Floyd thing he did where it's just like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not, I don't,
so
it's
he doesn't
not
write it down before he goes out. He just goes out.
No, he's also like the most, you know, as I told somebody, probably said it with you, he's one of the most talented, he's one of the best public speakers who's ever lived.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he's one of the best public speakers ever recorded, but he's it's like, who's better than him? Mark Twain, you know, all the people that you've heard recordings of, he's not even, he's a way like better than Pryor in terms of just oration.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So he doesn't, not like he doesn't work hard, and I don't want to give the thing of the feeling like black people are lazy. It's just Chris Rock is the biggest grinder I've ever met in my life.
Right. Right.
So there's two different ways to do it. But yeah, so I think that I have to read books about charisma in year 13 of my stand-up career. And I have shit on Netflix. I have 2 things on Netflix and I'm still like, no.
Yeah.
You gotta there's a better way to, I literally took a like performance coach. I work with performance coaches over quarantine.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. There's something I'm not doing that I need to do. Meaning there's something I'm not doing that people don't even, I don't know if I told you this, but when I got off stage at the Twain thing, a manager came up to me and is like, hey, would you produce a TV show? And I was like, I snapped at him. I go, so you just watched that and thought this guy should produce?
Yeah, right.
For who? I did better than everybody.
Yeah.
So I need to.
Now, Larry David used to bomb. That's the thing. That's why I can name a dozen guys that are the top producers in Hollywood that were horrible stand-ups. Their material was good enough that people looked at them and they went, hey, have you thought about writing? Have you thought about producing?
Yeah.
But no, you're not that guy.
I know. And I need to make it so people don't even have that thought.
Right.
Like, I'm trying to get to a place, and I may never, and this is the thing, I may never get there.
Yeah.
Looking at my niece, I'm like, fucking, all right, I'm trying to mute things that may be immutable.
Yeah.
But when you're, you know, sitting at the desk with Trevor Noah or being on stage with Dave or where I'm like, they just do this and get a huge laugh and I have to like,
yeah. Right.
Do the fucking Rain Man.
I know. It's amazing. It really is. I mean, I look at myself and fast forward sometimes doing stand-up when I'm editing something. I look at fast forward and here's me.
Yeah.
Like no fucking facial expression. I recently had Kyle Kinane on the podcast and he stopped me and he said, "Greg, I think the video's frozen." And I was like, "Nope. That's just me."
Yep.
And we laughed for 5 minutes. And that's what my stand-up is like. I just am not naturally a guy who flows around and when I'm headlining, I have learned to own the stage more, but I have to catch myself. I catch myself and I go, "Fucking move, asshole."
Well, that's the thing. That's where rock is great because I don't know if he's ever he's alluded to it in interviews. Before he did Bring the Pain, he had mirrors and a microphone set up in his basement.
No shit.
To the point where he was fucking training like a dancer.
Wow.
So once you hear that, you're like, okay. And Burr will do a performance thing every hour. Burr will change. He'll go, "I want to do more." I remember when one of the things was, "I want to do a joke or a bit where I'm having a conversation with someone off camera, off screen, and I don't say what they say."
Yeah.
It's like a writing, performing thing. Here's what a grinder I am. I got this thing right here. It's a watch, and it gives you electric shocks. And you can set it up. So when I did an hour in San Diego, and I would have it shock me every 40 seconds to remember to move and smile. I cannot be like what I'm like. I have to not be like what I'm like.
Oh my God. Isn't it amazing as you get older and you're still, I mean, that's the great thing about stand-up. I mean, I talked about the guy in sandals at Shay J doing a crossword puzzle. Like, we're still trying to get better. I've been doing stand-up 30 years and I still feel like I haven't figured it out yet. I've gotten good at it, but I haven't gotten to the place where I go, I got everything out of myself that I could in stand-up. I was the best, and I can even look back in certain years. I can look back, like I've been loading up some old sets on Instagram. Like I put on my first Letterman set recently. Mm-hmm. I'm not that good anymore. I was so fucking good when I did that Letterman set. I was doing stand-up. I was doing 5 sets a night, 6 nights a week, and I was writing all day in coffee shops. My confidence was here. Part of it is I had a full head of hair. There was a sense of confidence that I had then that I don't have now. I think I'm a better craftsman now. And I probably, do an hour better now than I did then. Back then I did 10-minute sets that were just home runs every time. And I don't have that sense of tightness that I used to have.
Yeah. Well, that's what's cool. I mean, that's what's great about stand-up and I mean, it's so fucking hard.
Yeah.
You can't, again, there's 70 million podcasts talking about what stand-up is and all that shit, but it still doesn't even, you still can't express it. Because as many podcasts and how public it is, and Seinfeld being the biggest evangelist of it, or one of, I had a guy write into my podcast talking about he owns some company, but he thinks he could do an hour, and he'll bet me $100,000 he can do a good hour at the store. And I was just like, what are you talking? I couldn't even explain to them. Blake Griffin, the basketball player, was on the podcast, the same episode. And I was like, that's the great thing about basketball players is you see them and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
6'10", yeah, I can't cover him.
Right.
Or the other day, Steph Curry in practice hit 105 3-pointers in a row.
I saw that. Yeah.
No one thinks they can do that.
Yeah.
Everyone is a little funny.
Right.
And someone pointed out to me that the reason the guy thinks, I was saying on the podcast, I was like, there's something about me that people think, oh, I'm better than him, or I'm better at stand-up than him. And the guy said, it's because you don't sweat, you don't run around, it doesn't look effortful.
Yeah.
And it's almost like seem nice. It's like seem performance-y. Like,
Yep.
But that's why I wear a shock bracelet.
Yep.
Is because I need it needs to seem more elaborate or more sweaty or whatever. But that's
more alive. I mean, we both have depression. And the point is with depression is that your default setting is that you're shut down. And it affects my friendships. People don't think I care about them as much as I do because I can look out of it.
Dour, yeah.
When they're talking. And because my memory's not as good, because with depression, your memory fucking sucks. So I don't have those little anecdotes to remember when I see somebody that I haven't seen in 5 years. I don't remember their names. My memory is shit. It doesn't mean I don't care. And it's something that it comes across in stand-up as well. I mean, if in a good set, I can be present 70% of the time when I'm really on. Whereas, like, you got a guy like Sebastian, he's in the fucking moment every second that he's on stage.
Yeah, or seemingly.
Yeah, something tells me he doesn't have depression.
No, and that thing is his face. He doesn't. You're right. He doesn't have depression. But so that's the But the odd thing is they would almost say Stephen Wright has more energy than us.
Right.
Because it's cartoon depression.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not actual depression. So yeah, that's the point of thinking it's easy because it's not clowny.
Right.
So it's like, all right, fuck it. I'll be clowny. I'll make it so nobody asks me to produce anything.
Yeah. Right.
I'll make it so, or I'll try to make it so people don't have me on their show, their TV show, not because they think I can't score, which is why they don't have me on now. Because I want them to not have me on because they think I'll steal the scene from them.
Yeah. Right.
I'd like to get there. It's probably too late.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have so many friends with TV shows that just like, doesn't occur to them.
Yeah. Right.
I'm in a Kevin Hart Chase commercial that I directed and people are like, wow, you're good. I'm like, what did you think I was going to be? I stand on stage by myself.
Yeah.
What did you think was going to happen?
Right.
But once people have this impression of you as you're more of a writer.
Well, it's like Todd Barry with, he had his famous album, his Medium Energy, which is an overstatement for him.
Yeah.
But he's a guy that
even that was a lie. Yeah.
There's a guy that everybody that ever watched him was like, this guy is a fucking sitcom character. He's packaged. Just take the fucking cellophane off, walk him on the stage. You don't have to, you're going to write for that guy in your sleep. He's so defined. And it never happened because they can't see that. They can only see the guy that comes in and chews up the fucking scenery in the audition room and who makes crowds double over laughing. They don't see the guy that makes the crowd shut the fuck up and sit on the edge of their seat and remember his jokes. Maybe it's not
and kills.
And kills, right.
Yeah.
But he has to find his own way. He's the guy, he can't even work a lot of the mainstream clubs weren't booking him. He started working rock clubs.
Music venues
on his own.
Yeah.
And now he's doing numbers that those clubs would love to have him in, but he's doing it himself.
Yeah. That's the It's almost like it's like your buddy's kid sister. Even when she's an adult, you're still like, I don't know. So I just see or like a child star, they grow up. I still think it's weird to see Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
You look like you're in pain.
Yeah.
Whereas with me, it's like that. I think a little bit with like writing, like just write.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, but what just happened on stage?
Right. Richard Pryor started off as a writer.
Is that? I don't think that's true.
Oh, Richard Pryor wrote on, I think it was. Wait, I'm going to look it up right now. You're going to be shocked. He wrote on a great show. I think he wrote
the Richard Pryor show. I'm kidding.
No.
I think you're wrong about this, Craig.
I'll bet you $100,000. I'll double down on the money that guy thinks he can. All right, Richard Pryor. Early life. Career. Anxiety.
Don't edit this out because I want people to feel the tedium.
In the 1970s, Pryor wrote for such television shows as Sanford and Son, The Flip Wilson Show, and the 1973 Lily Tomlin special, for which he shared an Emmy Award.
Okay.
You can Venmo me.
Okay. I wonder. Stuff like that sometimes is I know the Lily Tomlin one. That's true.
Right.
But I think they just did characters together. He was on it.
No, he was a staff writer on the Red. I remember he was a staff writer for Red Fox. He had stories about it.
Okay, good. Yeah. All right, good for him. Well,
there's hope for us.
Yeah,
Neil.
Great. Yeah. So, and then I also don't want to come across as bitter because it's not even bitter. It's more just like,
No, I don't. If we were bitter, we wouldn't be asking these questions. You wouldn't be taking charisma classes. You would be.
Yeah.
You would just be watching videos of the next hot comic and
going like, "Fuck this guy."
Right.
He's not even doing anything.
No, to me, it's the most exciting thing in the world. Is like I got this little office 5 minutes from my house, and I pretend I have a job. I get up in the morning, I walk the dogs, throw a move on the wife, get shut down, drive to the office. And then I think about, how do I get there? How do I get to that next level that I want to get to? And not in a desperate way and not in a bitter way, but like in a creative way where I go like, this year during the pandemic, I hired this company that costs way more money. It's probably will cost me 30% of the income that I make in 2020 is going to a company that has been editing and putting out videos for me, producing my podcast, doing social media. Because I said, all right, what do I need to do this year? What do I need to do to stay in the game, to get to the next level? And I'm excited about it. I love talking to them. I love thinking about, how do I get into new media in a way that I did with stand-up this year?
Yeah. Good. Yeah, yes, I'm busy at the Learning Annex.
Well, let's plug your podcast before we go.
How Neil Feel on the podcast with Bianca from the store.
Bianca Cia, is that her last name?
Yep, that's correct.
I absolutely love. Will you give her all of my love?
Of course.
I fucking love her.
She's great.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a show in New York like that I was supposed to start this past March. I think now we'll start maybe in July.
What's the show?
Like a 3 mics kind of stand-up show with something.
Who's producing it?
Me, same people. I don't know. It's just me. Scott Rudin. What do you fucking care?
Well, the last one, wasn't the last one somebody famous?
Oh, John Legend produced it, right?
Yeah,
because I needed a name to associate with.
Well, get another name. You want me to produce it?
The idea is that I no longer need a name.
By the way, good news and bad news for you. I saw online that 3 mics IMDb came up with their top 10 stand-up specials on Netflix right now. And you came in, ready for this? Number
Go.
6.
Nice.
Bad news is Hannah Gadsby, number 1.
Number 1. Yeah, that's right. I'm not mad at Hannah Gadsby.
I'm not mad at her, but I wouldn't put her at number 1.
Well, it's like, critics don't like comedy.
Yeah.
They don't like killing.
No, they like cultural phenomena.
Yeah. Yeah. So good for them. So that's why, especially now, it's almost like it's always been this, but there's basically now categories. If you look at the 10 best of the year, they don't even start from quality. They just start from woman, black woman, trans person.
Right.
Like there'll be one white man on there.
Right.
Even though 60% of the population or whatever, 30, whatever stats there's tons of white male comedians.
Yeah.
Many of whom crush.
Yeah.
But like Burr has never gotten an Emmy nomination or been on any of these lists.
Yeah. Right.
So.
Yeah.
Because they just decided Louie was better than him.
Uh-huh.
For some reason.
Yeah.
So it's got nothing to do because Louie's show was esoteric and whatever. So, but they don't take into consideration. It should just be who are the hardest people to follow. That should be the list every year.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
also, you do have a date coming up, January 25th. You're going to be in the Chumash Casino in Santa Barbara.
That was last year.
I got to update my internet. Wait, let me check my internet. Oh, I've got the old internet.
Yeah. Last year. You thought I was going to do a casino? What kind of monster do you think I am?
I'm doing dates. I'm out doing stand-up next month.
Are you? Where are you going?
Next week.
Where are you
going to Indianapolis. And then Portland, and then Kansas City.
The clubs are half?
Yeah, they're half
the
full.
seats.
They have to wear masks. It's crazy. But
is it worth it?
No, it's half the money because it's half the crowd.
Yeah.
And I'll probably catch COVID.
Yeah. Why are you doing it?
Got to do it, man. It's what I do. It's like the scorpion.
Right.
What is scorpion?
But you didn't do it for you didn't do it for a year. So you're saying I got to do it. It's like, no, you just didn't do it for a year. What are you talking about?
Yeah. It's time. People
These are all fake. These are all fake reasons. All right, buddy. Well, nice speaking to you.
Great talking to you, Neil, and
best of luck with all of on your journey. And,
both of our journeys are. I think we both had good 2020s. I think we didn't give up, and there's a lot to be said for that. We tried.
Do you think people gave up? I think everybody approached it in that way.
Yeah.
I think most people tried.
Yeah.
As much as it was. I mean, again, I didn't find it that hard because I like staying home.
Yeah.
But there were definitely times where I'm like, this can't be good.
Right.
Like long term, this cannot be good for any of us.
Well, the tough thing is going to be because my daughter loves it. She's she's got social anxiety a little bit, and she fucking loves being in her room, going to class online. She works in a daycare after school because she loves babies. She goes and holds the babies for a few hours. And then she comes home and watches Netflix. She's fucking got it locked down. Couldn't be happier. But when it all opens up again, I just hope that she can handle it. There's a lot of people that are going to have to be coaxed back out into the world.
Yeah, but I also think there are people that were more social. They were being more so. There are people that thought they were social. And I'm an extrovert, and it turns out no, you're not.
Yeah, right.
So I'm happy for those people.
Yeah.
but I don't miss going to party. I mean, I do miss going to the store and doing that.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's about, and I guess sitting in restaurants.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way. I mean, all the stuff that I really love is like going to the beach. Like this summer, I went to the beach about fucking 25 times. I like playing paddle tennis. I like riding my bike. I like playing golf. All things that I've pretty much been able to do for the last 9 months. But the store, I miss a lot. I miss the camaraderie. I missed a bunch of those guys will be gone that I liked seeing. And
I think the camaraderie is not over, but I think it's going to be greatly diminished.
Yes.
By the lack of actual comrades.
Yeah.
And then also a lot of the sex stuff. If I can be so bold.
We lost a couple soldiers. Yeah, they went over the line. We lost a couple soldiers, and it was interesting to see how some of the other soldiers responded to losing a couple of the soldiers. It's interesting. Yeah, never leave a man behind, right?
Yeah, it was like, interesting. Okay, this is gonna change my point of view for sure.
Yeah, right.
So
right.
I think it'll be more professional.
Yes.
Hello, good. I'm about to go on. So if you don't mind,
yeah.
I think it's going to be a lot of fake conversation endings because you realize, I should have never been talking to these people anyway.
Right.
Because they are ready to bury me if given the opportunity.
All right, Neil.
All right, buddy.
Thanks for the charisma. It was awesome.
You got it.
All right,
buddy. See ya.
Later.